know if you're anything like me, but I was kind of getting tired of hearing the word wearables. I was confused by it a little bit because there were some things that got applied to your body, and yes, you're wearing it, but then we're also talking about clothes and all of that stuff. So this next part of the day is all about sensibles, and that's kind of how I like to think of it. And so this is called Sensibles, the smarter side of wearables. And our first tech talk is being presented by Vaishali Kamat, head of the digital health department at Cambridge Consultants. And it's called Beyond the Bands. And just a quick note, she didn't have a New Year's resolution to share, but her motto is, every day is a new day, which I think is a good motto. Thank you. Let's welcome her to the stage.
Thanks, Jill. Can everyone hear me? I've been told to speak loud. Back there, waking up all the cyborgs, to use the previous term. Okay, everyone good? Right. This is an exciting topic. I'm here to shed the spotlight on getting beyond the wrist, why we need to think beyond the wristbands or smartwatches, and what it means for various applications. The thoughts I'm about to share with you are framed from what I do for a living, working at Cambridge Consultants, which, contrary to its name, is actually a product development firm. We develop breakthrough innovation and technology for a large number of clients in various sectors, including things like the first single-chip Bluetooth solution back in the late 90s, which led to the spin-out of CSR. So lots of interesting work going on there, which has shaped my thoughts, which I'm going to share with you here today. First point, why do we need to think beyond the bands? And for me, it's really simple. The human body is a fantastically complex machine. It has data points strewn all over it. The wrist is easy. It's easy to access it. It's easy to design for. But actually, for me, I think getting clinical-grade data from the wrist is a rather difficult task, which is probably why hospitals are still using electrodes for getting your ECG. That said, more importantly, once you've got the data, once you've got the measurements, providing therapy or controlling any of the body functions is nearly impossible from the wrist. So I'm going to talk about a few types of devices that I think are important to really make digital health meaningful. And I'm going to exemplify this using my favorite family, the loops, as I call them. Lizzie is much more than a diabetic. She's an active woman wanting to live her life and not be slowed down by her condition. She needs the tools to help her. Her daughter, Lara, picked up her tennis racket when she was 3 years old and is now about to go pro. She needs precise tracking of her game so she can improve to the next level and really make a difference. She also needs to balance her training and be most efficient. And Grandpa Lawrence is just as active as his girls, except recently, unfortunate diagnosis of Parkinson's disease means he's slowing down. He needs more therapy. He needs more than what his drugs can do. And he needs to stay connected with his girls so that they know he is all right. Bands don't do enough for this family. And similarly, they don't do enough for a lot of people in their situation. Lizzie needs to monitor several things, including her diet, her sleep, her stress, what she does for her everyday work. She also needs to take medication 4 times a day, which depends on all of these interdependent things. Similarly, Lara needs precise tracking, and Grandpa needs a better therapy. So let's look at a few things that can help them. First, connected devices. Yes, personal use devices at home are not new. We've had thermometers and glucose meters and weigh scales, but it's time to think beyond that. How about at-home diagnostics? Diagnostics that can help save the trip to the lab, help people do lower cost testing every day or as often as it's needed in order to be actually put into a closed loop system which can help them monitor and better their condition. How about smarter drug delivery that when used in conjunction with the diagnostic can actually enable smarter management? And the smarter analytics that can put it all together so Lizzie doesn't need to write down everything that she did and all the food that she ate and can actually have insights delivered to her so she can put her mind to the everyday work that she needs to do otherwise. Similarly, we're talking about wearables. I want to talk about integrated sensors rather than wearables, integrated into everything that we normally do. How about smarter equipment? Whether they are rackets or gym equipment or other types of devices that you use anyway. Why do you need an extra thing on your hand to track what you do? How about integrating things in clothing? And more importantly, what about passive tracking? This is my favorite. There is so much data that has to be had from things like mattresses. We spend 6 to 8 hours in the bed every day. The home, the car. There is volumes of data to be had. Yes, there are devices in this space, and a few speakers in the summit are going to give examples of this type of technology. But for me, I think the focus on these types of devices or systems is still not yet there, and there's volumes of opportunity there. Finally, it's time to think inside the body. Let's think about intelligent implants. Implants are getting smaller, less expensive, and the procedures will be getting minimally invasive. Some will be as simple as swallowing. These implants can provide therapy, and when put in closed loop with measurements, they can actually be personalized and controlled depending on the impact that they are delivering. So grandpa can have his Parkinson's tremors be treated with some therapy that is implantable, and it's activated based on how he's doing. When he has a particularly bad day, he gets better and more improved therapy. When he doesn't have so many tremors, he doesn't get that much therapy. All possible and definitely important. I'd leave you with 3 thoughts that will hopefully help shape some of the solutions that we're going to build in 2015 and beyond. The first, age of context. Yes, there is an overused term for the internet going physical. I'm not going to use it. Suffice to say, sensors are going to be everywhere. They're going to be cheap, ubiquitous, and in places that we can't even imagine today. Make use of them. Let's think beyond the accelerometers and gyroscopes. There are a lot more different types of sensing technologies that can provide valuable information. Cell phones, everywhere. There are actually more cell phones in this world, active cell phones, than toothbrushes. Did you know that? Interesting statistic there. And so accessories are for everyone. Everybody is going to use them, not just techies or geeks. And so there's time to think about how we can put all of this together to help us gather that data. Speaking of data, yes, everybody talks about value of data, and data is king, and data is going to be monetized, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's only useful if you use it effectively. And for me, that means multivariate analysis. You're looking at taking data from different sources and putting it in context of where it was gathered. A good example, an accelerometer on my wrist gives me very different information than if I put the same accelerometer on my car windshield. We've tried it, and it's fantastic. It can tell you how well you're driving, whether you're changing gears when you should be, and things like that. But importantly, the context in which the sensor is used is giving you that information, and that's important to remember. My last point, which is about products and devices being a means to an end, refers to services. It refers to what you do with this data, what you do with the insights that you can gather from that. And the most important debate, which I will not open here, given I have about 2 minutes left, is about ownership. Data ownership is a huge topic, but I think the only thing I want to say is remember you need access. You need unrestricted access to the data that your devices are gathering in order for you to extract the value from it and launch the services that you need to offer. Last point, and somebody said this earlier in the day, so true. Make it simple. No over-engineering, really not necessary. Things can be simple. You need to design for the average Joe because data gathering should not be a burden. If it is a burden, people won't do it. Wristbands will go in the drawer, even though they are simple to use. And finally, think integration. Doesn't need to be a separate device. Does it really need to be a separate device? Can it be integrated into somebody's environment, somebody's everyday life? If you're able to do that, you'll prevent the person from going off after the next hot thing that hits the market. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions later, or come visit us. Some of these devices are on show in the stand.